What's up? What's up? What's up? And welcome back to Engage Live on After the Snap. On this here show, we talk about Star Trek and all things Trek. So we're talking about a Star Trek Discovery episode today. Long time no see with Grace. We're talking about the Star Trek Discovery episode. This one is called Whistlespeak. I have to say that I was a little confused by what they meant by whistle speak. Hey, March, good to see you. I got both my mods in the house. What's up, peoples? So yeah, we got this episode of Star Trek Discovery, and I am going to do a light recap, and we're going to talk about some of the high points of this episode. So, Whistle Speak is the I forgot sixth. Must be a Yondu episode. Y'all really got the jokes today. Now what was I saying? Oh, this is the sixth episode. So we are officially over the mid-season hump. We are in the end game. We coming on into home. But anyway, this one involves the Discovery crew visiting a pre-warp civilization society. That planet that they are going to is in order to search for the clues about the progenitor technology. And this episode also continues to explore themes of spirituality. That's a big one. The Prime Directive is a big one. And then there are character developments for not just Burnham, nothing for Maul and Locke, really, but we got Tilly and Culber. Definitely got some more information on them. We got more questions and answers about Kovich. We still want to know what the hell is going on with Kovich. But this episode is almost like a return to form. Hey there, Justin. This episode is like a return to form. We're going back to classic Star Trek form when we go to on this away mission. We come into a problem that needs to be solved on that planet, and then also that leads to them being able to further solve the issue that they have on Discovery, because they still are looking for these clues, right? So the themes of connection, spirituality, they were developed in a respectful manner. It didn't try to beat you over the head with what you should do. It just offered it offered an alternative way of looking at or thinking about things. I like that. And then, of course, the character moments between Tilly and Burnham were good, because a little part of me says that this is probably going to be Tilly and Burnham's last away mission. So if whether or not that's the case, this away mission seemed to be giving us a wind down of where they're going to end up after this season, specifically because Tilly mentioned needing help at Starfleet Academy, basically saying recruiting Michael Burnham. Michael Burnham is like, oh yeah, I might think about that. Now, the Burnham that I know, or the Burnham that we potentially know, her place is probably better suited on a starship. That's just it just seems like that is her at her best when she is performing in an ensemble crew, and that she is going out and solving problems, maybe even causing problems on the starship. Would it be something that anybody was interested in if that character crossed over from Star Trek Discovery and moved on to Starfleet Academy? What would you think if Burnham showed up as an instructor? Do I expect Burnham to show up on Starfleet Academy? Sort of, kind of. I sort of would like to see her show up on Starfleet Academy, but do I want her there in a supporting role weekly, or do I want her there as a recurring character who might just show up once or twice a season. I don't know. Um, so the plot again, slower paced episode, still gave us some meat to chew on as far as our big arc throughout the story. But this one is basically us going to a strange new world and and helping the people on the planet with some technology that they didn't even know they had. And this technology is more or less the is their quote unquote God. It's their religion is based around this technology. They don't even know this technology exists because the Denobulans, yeah, those Denobulans, y'all, the Denobulans seeded their planet with these towers. Was it water towers? Think about it, water towers. So those things were set up for as water towers, or I think. Help me if I'm misremembering what that was. Is it for to get the dust out the air? What was that for? Help remind me. Is it to bring the rain? I think it was to bring the rain. But anywho, this became their religion. The Denobulans seeded their planet with these things because they noticed how arid the planet was and that the planet wouldn't survive without them building these towers around the planet. And now this was built, BT dubs. It was built about 800 years ago. So the towers they've been there for a while. So you got to wonder to yourself, the Denobulans didn't tell nobody they was putting these towers here. So how did they expect for them to be maintained? Did they expect the people on the planet who didn't know anything about these towers, did they expect for them to maintain this equipment? Because if they didn't expect them to maintain the equipment, which I really hope they didn't expect them to because they didn't teach them how to. If they didn't expect them to work on this equipment, then they needed to have come back a couple times. They needed to revisit this planet that they set up for success, except we're not going to teach you how to keep these machines running for your own success. And was it because Prime Directive? Well, are the Denobulans bound by the Prime Directive? Do they have their own version of the Prime Directive? Please, I like to know because that was something that kind of stuck in my craw. You built this freaking equipment and then you just left. Let me pick up comments. Wingray says, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking she might leave Starfleet and go off with Book at the end. That would be cute. Marge is saying Michael could be a recurring guest lecturer, and I think that would be okay if we saw her every once in a while, just not every week. I mean, if we're gonna see her every week, so be it, so Bennett. But I feel like if she's going to be in the show in order to explain her presence without mentioning that Discovery got canceled, in order to explain her presence, I think that it should be recurring and not a regular role where she's just there all the time. Marge is liking the idea of Burnham going off with Book. She thinks it's going to be good and romantic. And Wingrace is helping me out here. They were weather control towers to seed rain. Yeah, they were going to make it rain. It's going to make it rain on them hoes. Okay, I had to say it. Make it rain on them hoes. uh, I think Marge is saying good question to why the Denobulans dipped. They just put the shit up. We gonna help this pre-warp civilization who knows nothing about this technology. We're gonna help them by putting up these towers. We ain't gonna tell them anything about it. And yes, I know they might potentially start worshiping these towers, but at least they have rain until the towers break down. Which, spoiler alert, the towers are breaking down. Before we get to all of that, we saw Kovich. And Kovich had for he had for Burnham a list that was written on a yellow legal pad in the 31st century. He wanted to write it on a piece of paper. And what he wrote was the names of the 5 scientists who all took a piece of the puzzle and hid it because they didn't think that people were ready for this progenitor technology and they didn't want it to get in the wrong hands. So each one took a little piece of the puzzle and went on about their business and hid it somewhere. So we had Velik, who was Romulan. We had Janal Bix, who was Trill. We had Carmen Cho, Terran, because remember she came from the Mirror Universe. Hidoroshi Creel is Denobulan. That's who hid the clue on what's the name? Halimno. The name of the planet is Halimno, but BT Dubs, I forgot. And Hidoroshi Creel is the Denobulan that hid that clue and used the little vial of water as a clue to that piece of the puzzle. Hidoroshi Creel, does it make you wonder if it has anything to do with Hoshi? Like, did Hoshi meet somebody and meet someone Denobulan and decide that they were going to, start a family? Who knows? But Hidoroshi sounded just enough like Hoshi for me to be like, could it be? And then we had Marina Directs. This is the final clue. And Marina Directs is a Betazoid. And of course, Marina is a nod to Marina Sirtis, who played Troy in TNG. She was she was that Betazoid. She's that chick. Wingray says maybe they plan to, or maybe they expected them to evolve over 800 years to be smart enough to discover them. So, okay, you would think that at some point they would evolve unless you began to see this technology as a form of deity, which is what they did. They started to look at this as it was something that was coming from a deity. And there is no deity. It's almost like some of the stuff that if you grew up in a church, I grew up in a church, Liberty Baptist Church, Lake Station, Indiana. So I grew up in this church, and a lot of the things that we were being taught in school was being undermined by what we were being taught at church. At church, we learned one thing, and at school, we learned something entirely different, which made it very hard for me to balance the two. Like, which one is the truth? Is what I'm learning in church the truth? And I leaned heavily towards that because I was told my entire life that God can't lie. Not won't lie, can't lie. So if God can't lie, then everything that God says, which is in this Bible, is the truth. And if everything that God says is the truth, then we got some splaining to do, because some things happen over a very short period of time in the Bible, but in real life, it was like it took literally years, literally centuries, millennia almost, for this to all of these changes to happen. But the Bible explains it away real easy. And see, this is what I'm looking at. It's like these people believed that the reason why that they were favored and were getting rain at certain times is because they were making the sacrifices, and that became what they believed. That is their religion. So if that is their religion, even though there are some people we found out who don't believe it as hard as others, but if this is their religion, then it's really hard for me to say that they would even be looking for another reason why these towers were here. For them, the towers were there simply because God put them there. And this is how I grew up. And if that is how they grew up, that's what they know. That's all they know. We got some a little tiny bit of Stamets and Colbert. Now Colbert was still looking for answers about this new feeling that came over him after his experience with Janal. So he had this other consciousness in him, and that is opening him up to a possibility of having a spiritual experience because of the fallout of Janal. Colbert thought that Stamets would look at him differently because Stamets is a man of science. Stamets probably wasn't even trying to hear it when Colbert came back to life after getting his neck snapped. So I think Colbert is excited or happy to know that no matter what, Stamets has his back, because I think that was something he was concerned about. I still am not 100% sure where this thing with Colbert is going. He is definitely having a spiritual awakening of some sort after his experience with Janal, but how he feels about it is a little bit ambiguous to me right now. At first, it seemed like he feared having this experience, but then it seems like he started to want to know more about it, and now he feels encouraged because Stamets told him, "I think you should just enjoy it. Just enjoy this ride that you're on." I thought that was a very understanding way for Stamets to support Culber, and hopefully other people. I don't know how other people read that. I read it as him being supportive, but there might be some people who think that he was being dismissive. So let me know what you think about how Stamets handled Culber. Let me know in the comments exactly what you think about that situation. Um, Dave says, "Hey there again, David." David says, "Geez, I hope you had some food and gummies. You are too busy." um, that's why I was trying to get some money together, y'all. I be trying to fundraise, and I guess I better put it up here in case somebody wants to send me a super or a tip, because I don't want supers. Because if you send me a super, I'm not getting it until it reaches up to $100. So I appreciate supers, and if that's the way you can send me something, if you want to support the show, by all means do it. But if you want something that's going to help me in the moment, I need some food. So I put the I put the thing for my Cash App up. So if you want to send me some money, I can get me something to eat. That's all. We need a good $20 to eat dinner around here. Um Wingray says, not saying it was a good move, but we know around Enterprise era, they have vastly different ideas about the universe than humans. So I can see it being a different way of thinking. And then Marge watched the Enterprise episode Civilization, and away mission very similar to this disco episode. I'm gonna have to check that out, because one thing for sure is many of those Enterprise episodes, I don't remember them by name. There are a few that I remember by name, but for the most part, I have to hear the plot points. And I'm pretty sure I could remember that episode there were episodes of damn near every one of Star Trek's that kind of matched up with this episode. But I would like to know what Civilization was about. I guess that's what I said, all that to say that. Marge says, "I am not sure what Culber wants from Stamets." And that is my question. Like, is Stamets, to me, Stamets is being understanding and supportive. but I'm not sure if anybody else is seeing it in any other way. So I don't know what Culber expects, but at the same time, I don't know if Stamets, if the way that I visualize his understanding of what Culber is going through, if it's supportive, I guess. Hey, Clarence. Clarence saw it as dismissive. And see, it could go either way. I don't know for sure. Clarence saw it as dismissive, though, and that is that's very interesting because we got at least somebody else is seeing it that other way, and I'm wondering how Culber saw it. What did he feel from that conversation? So we'll talk about Kovich more in just a second. I said that about that a lot of people or some people on this planet may not be as indoctrinated as others because of this lady. I'm sorry. I definitely had to have something because this lady pulled Burnham to the side and was like, you ain't got to go up to that tower to prove your faith. Just say you got faith. You got faith. If you got faith, you got faith. You ain't got to go up to that tower. Now, this was before Burnham knew what was going to happen at that tower when they arrived. Burnham is like, oh, but I really want to go. And then the lady was like, well, I'm not going to try to talk you out of it. I'm just saying. You ain't got to. And you see a woman her age. So she's not old, but she's definitely middle-aged or a little higher. And she's like, you don't have to do this. And the fact that she's there and she's the age that she is means that at some point she made a very, very healthy decision. I'm not never gonna make it all the way to the tower. I'm gonna have to stop and drink water real quick because that was the way that they were eliminating people from this quest. Is if you couldn't make it to the tower with these little bowls of water that was sitting around tempting everybody, if you couldn't forego water to make it to that tower, then you couldn't represent your people in this ritual. And the water was everywhere. Was everywhere. It was water, bowls of water on the side. Then they come out with bowls of water that you got to carry. And the girl who I thought was Adira, the entire time that I saw them on the screen, and it turns out this is an entirely different person. But the entire time I saw them on the screen, I thought it was Tilly until we got into the not Tilly, it was Adira until we got into the episode, and then I realized it's somebody entirely different. But that individual dropped their bowl of water, and their father was like, "Oh well, guess you can't go to the tower." And then Tilly was like, "Oh no, I'm gonna share my water with her now, or them. Now they can go to the tower." And they go to the tower, and you find out that they are going there to die. They're going to die. So following back up on what Clarence said, he thought that he read Stamets' behavior as dismissive, and that could be why Culber reached out to Book. And this is true. He did immediately go and talk to somebody else after he talked to Stamets. I thought I would have been happy probably with the way Stamets responded, but I could see feeling dismissed. Yeah, have fun with it. It ain't nothing serious. It's just a little bit of fun. Don't get serious about it. Just have fun. um, oh, Clarence, yes, your review on this episode, the quick review that you did was very good. No thanks to mention sacrifice. Something I'm missing. There's got to be a word that I'm. No thanks to mention sacrifice. Please help me, Marge, on that one. I don't have a lot of slides for I got so wrapped up in the X-Men episode. I damn near had 100 slides for X-Men episode, and I don't have that many slides for the for the disco. Oh, no one thinks to mention sacrifice. Right. It's just a ritual. We're not saying that you're going out up there and you're never coming down. We're not saying that. It's just a ritual. Uh, and look how happy she is. Lighting fires in this place that you need all the air that you can get. So why the hell are you using this fire to eat up the little bit of oxygen that we got in here? Yeah, but they were too excited to kill themselves. Yeah, they left out that huge sacrifice part. Yeah, Clarence. They never said the word sacrifice. And I would have never figured that I was going up there to die if they would have led me on this away mission. And yeah, the father was doing everything that he could to keep his daughter safe. He did not want them to have to I look at how old the father is. Father ain't went up there to sacrifice himself. So I know he's like, I don't want my daughter sacrificing himself to, for this. Because of course they love their people, they love their world. That don't mean that they want their child to die. Especially in this situation, he'd already lost his wife. You probably would think, or at least I think, that the daughter is making this quest because they want to well, number one, they are dealing with the loss of their mother, but at the same time they want to make their daddy proud. This ain't what your daddy want to be proud of. This is not that. The dad doesn't want to lose his daughter in the end. And he's doing everything in his power to sabotage their mission of going up to the tower. Is that what happened to the mother too? That could be it. I didn't get that, but shit, it could be it that the mother went up there sacrificed herself. I could not, and she might have been thinking, this is the biggest sacrifice that a mother can make for her child, which is, I'm going to, now that this child is of the age where they can take care of themselves, I'm going to go up here and make sure that my child has another year of rain and clean air and oxygen and water. That's what I'm going to do. So maybe, that would be the biggest indication of love, but it was an unnecessary indication of love. I would feel crazy if I found out that my mom sacrificed herself in that manner only for me to find out later that it was unnecessary. For example, and this hopefully I'm not offending anybody by talking about this. Um, People that I know or close that I am close to uh, are Jehovah's Witnesses, and Jehovah's Witnesses are taught that if a person does something that is against Bible principles and the Bible principles that they uphold, that that everybody is to shun those people. So okay, for example, I have an ex-husband. I only got one ex-husband. It's not like I got a whole list of them. I only got one. He was a Jehovah's Witness. When he started dating me way back in the 90s, he was disfellowshipped from his religion. But he's disfellowshipped, and everybody in the religion, to include family members, are supposed to shun that individual if they get disfellowshipped. So now the Jehovah's Witnesses, all the way up here in 2024, have said, well, you ain't got to shun them. Not the family. The family don't have to shun them. At the Kingdom Hall, where we go for their indoctrination sessions, what I call them, at the Kingdom Hall, they don't have to get shunned there either. But outside of the Kingdom Hall, you can't hang out with this person because they are off of, they're out of the organization for the moment. Think about how a mother who had children back in the 90s who actually shunned their kids because this religion told them to do that, only for the religion 30 years later to say, nah, you ain't got to shun them. How do you feel at this point? I spent X amount of time not talking to my kid because the church told me to. I listened to the church. I trusted the church. These were the rules, and the rules shouldn't change when it comes to something like God. The rules shouldn't change, right? Well, this is how these people could look at these towers once they realize, nobody sacrificed themselves, and the tower still produced the water that we needed for the rain. So, you mean all of the sacrifices that have been made over these past 800 years were unnecessary sacrifices? Those people should have been around to tell the stories, but instead they died thinking that they were doing something to save their people. It's just weird-ish like that. Stuff like that I think about. Yeah, I like that video that Chris Stuckman did too, because it shows you how extreme the Jehovah's Witnesses are. Yes, Chris Stuckman is a movie YouTuber. He's a movie director, and he does reviews and all of this stuff. And he has been doing that since his childhood. And during his childhood, I forgot exactly all of the things that happened, but I know one of the things that led to him being disfellowshipped was his love for movies, was his love for making movies. And Jehovah's Witnesses feel like you should not do anything that takes time away from your studies of the Bible. So if you want to be a movie maker within the organization where you'll get recognized for making the movies and little videos and the such that the witnesses make to keep their people indoctrinated. Well, that's not what Chris Stuckman wanted, and because that's not what he wanted, he ends up on the wrong side of the organization, and he's been shunned. And especially his sexuality, I think he says he's pansexual. Demi said he's something. And his sexuality would have caused him to be disfellowshipped anyway. There's just a whole lot. There's an entire lot of stuff that kind of I got to thinking about as I was watching this. Because another thing, and this is not for me, I'm not bashing the Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm not about to spend this entire time bashing the Jehovah's Witnesses, but it made me think about it. They don't take blood transfusions either. So imagine going your entire life not accepting blood transfusions. And if you had a child or a parent or whatever who needed a blood transfusion and didn't take it, that parent or child would die. But they would be celebrated by the religion and the organization because they're like, well, that person made the ultimate sacrifice for their relationship with God. Now, fast forward to now. Suppose they say, okay, you guys can take blood transfusions now. There was new light on the subject, and Jehovah said that you could take blood transfusions now. So over all those years that all those people didn't take blood transfusions and died, how do you rectify that in your mind after the rules get changed? This is where I think this civilization should be after Burnham and Tilly leave their planet. I feel like they should be in a situation where they're like, my whole fucking life been a lie. My entire life has been a lie. And that could create religious wars. That could create religious tension. That could create tension in families because you feel like the person, your parent, the person that you should have been looking to for all the answers, they passed down the answers that were given to them. But suppose those answers were all based on a misunderstanding. Then what? Then you got generation after generation after generation of your descendants all being passed this same lie down. And I'm calling it a lie because even if it's not the truth, even if it was an unintentional lie, it was a lie. It was a lie. So now you're passing this lie down, and then you know it. If we revisited this civilization on Halemno, I would like to know how their interactions or how their chance meeting with Tilly and Burnham affected their society. That would, to me, be a good place to go in newer episodes or newer series, especially if we somehow get this young girl. I forgot their name. Um, if they because they're a gender, they have a three gender society, right? So he, her, them. But I don't know if she considers her, if they consider themselves a daughter or what. I don't know. It just seems to me as if that character had a connection with Tilly that could lead them to go to Starfleet once they get into a warp capable situation, which should be soon. Now that you know that somebody that came from the stars and fixed your god or your planet, once that you should know that there's something else out there at that point, and that should make you curious enough that you end up in the stars. We'll see. I talked about that long time. David says his parents were disfellowship for going to rock concerts, and they were pioneers. So I didn't know that your family were witnesses, David. But yes, that's another thing. You go to the rock concert. I didn't think that they should be disfellowship, but they also do something called marking, and marking is like a soft disfellowship. So if they get up in the Kingdom Hall and say, you should never, ever, ever, if you are divorcing your wife, you should never, ever, ever be in a situation where you're alone with another woman. And they start preaching about it. But the preaching gets more and more specific. That's called a marking talk. And in the Jehovah's Witness religion, a marking talk means I know who they talking about. They're not saying any names from the pulpit, but I know who they're talking about. And the fact that I know who they're talking about means that I have to steer clear of that person. So it's a soft shun. It's not necessarily where your entire family is expected to not speak to you, but if I know that you are carrying on in the way that these elders spoke of from the pulpit, that means I need to ignore you. I need to stay away from you. The only time I should interact with you should be at the Kingdom Hall. But I'm not going to talk about um the but I keep getting comments that go back to the witnesses, and I have to keep talking about the witnesses. The pioneers build kingdom halls in remote places. The pioneers also go door to door, and they stand at those carts and they tell people about the organization. And from me to me, the pioneers are the bread and butter. They are the life blood of the Jehovah's Witness organization. Because if those people weren't out there preaching, if those people weren't out there doing the work in the community, then you wouldn't have any new converts. But okay. Ovats, the father, must be very careful in what he reveals and doesn't reveal. Right. But how do you know? Okay, so Tilly and Burnham will disappear. So is he going to say that Tilly sacrificed herself inside of the tower? Because once they realize it's raining without a sacrifice, you don't even have to say anything to me. I'm smart enough to figure out, okay, everybody that went in came back out and it's still raining, which means I don't have to ever go in there because it's going to rain. At least that's the way I look at it. David said, I refuse blood. I don't know of anyone who has refused blood and died. I don't go to Kingdom Halls, but y'all know I go to church. Yeah, I know you go to church. Um, I know a lot. I know people. I can at least name one person who I know that was a witness that required blood transfusions, who later passed away because a surgery that was needed couldn't be performed because that individual rejected the blood. And I also know that the elders from the Kingdom Hall were standing by this person's bedside when they made that decision. That is one of the biggest problems that I have with Jehovah's Witnesses, but that is also why I am not going to sit here and talk about Jehovah's Witnesses like that, because I don't know who in my audience might be one, and I'm not trying to offend, but at the same time, I'm telling you that it's some things that probably should be thought through with any religion, any self-help group, anything like that, because all of those groups use the exact same technique. And I'm not talking just Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm talking mainstream religions use almost the exact same tactics. They don't go as far as shunning. Most of them don't. They don't go as far as telling you that you can't do this or that with your body. But if I'm, because I'm 51 years old, if I'm 51 years old and I have been told my entire life you can't wear a beard, that's against what God wanted for whatever reason in the Bible, and now all of a sudden it's you can wear a beard. Women are not supposed to wear slacks or pants out in field service, but now you're telling me I can wear slacks and pants in the Kingdom Hall. Things change. The indoctrination changes, but the truth should remain the truth, whether or not you are. The truth should remain the truth, whether or not I believe it or not. And the truth should remain the truth. And if I couldn't do it yesterday, I shouldn't be able to do it today. If all of this is based on the truth, I'm still talking about Jehovah's Witnesses. Marge said, Honora, the elder woman, already has voiced an alternative way to pay tribute to the gods. Rava, the girl, the girl's name. I'm sorry. I don't remember what the alternative way to pay tribute to the gods was. Please remind me. I'm glad they at least mentioned the implications of the truth. I like the fact that desperation made made Burnham say, okay, we got to slide past the prime directive here. I'm gonna have to use my technology, and to me it's just technology, but to this man it's magic. How do you know that song and that sort of thing? But then also I like that Burnham said you can believe what you want, believe what you believe, please don't let me stop you from believing what you believe. But this right here is the truth too. Technology in my visit here is just part of what you believe. I appreciated that. Oh no, I don't. Yeah, I'm not trying to offend nobody, and I hope everybody knows that. I hope it is not. I know David is probably more familiar with my personality than anybody knew, so I'm not trying to, talk about your religion, uh, because we could dissect what I grew up believing. You know. Okay, so there's Tilly. This is before the away mission. Culber and Stamets were having their heart to heart. Everybody was so happy and beautiful and bubbly looking, and I just thought Burnham looked really, really happy in this picture. And Tilly too, by the way. BT dubs. I don't have no pictures of I don't know where I did what I did. I thought I had a picture of the infinity room with Kovich, but I suppose I didn't. So Kovich, David Cronenberg's character, we saw him again. We still got some questions about what exactly is Dr. Kovich? What is his job responsibilities? Like who who is he to the Federation, and what is it that he is? What is he in charge of in the Federation? I know Wingray says he has a theory, and I am all ears unless he's going to make a video. Because by the way, my friend Wingrace in the chat, number one of my mods with him in March. So thank you guys for mod squatting. But then also, Wingrace is a creator on YouTube as well. I'm not 100% sure whether or not he's going to make a video about his ideas for COVID. If he is, I am encouraging everybody to sign up, to subscribe to his channel. I sound like an old lady. Sign up for his YouTube. Yeah, I am asking you guys to subscribe to his YouTube because he has some fantastic ideas about Star Trek and other things, not just Star Trek, but other things as well. He's got a lot to say. And you might have seen him this past weekend on Talking to Orville. I missed the first part of it. I came in like at the very ass end of him being on that panel, and then I tried to make a comment and I couldn't because I'm not subscribed. But I'm like, I like to hear what people talk about, so I'm gonna have to go back and listen to his listen to that talk to see if I'm gonna subscribe to that channel, because I don't like subscribing to people if I don't know what the hell they're gonna say. It's just like the last live stream I did today. Somebody came on and was like, I want to sit down and talk to you. You know, I want to jump in on their panel. And I'm like, I don't mind having people, but I got to know that you're not about to say nothing crazy. Because if you say something crazy and it embarrasses me, I guarantee you I'm going to embarrass your ass. So, keep that in mind. I'll sit and chat with you. Come on the show with me. Hang out. We can talk about these episodes, but don't say nothing stupid or crazy, because then I'm gonna have to show a whole different side of Tosh. When Grace says a Star Trek episode that explores the implications of changing a pre-warp society is Friendship 1 from Voyager. Yeah. I've been Wingray said I've been wanting to, but only just thought of one more piece of the puzzle. So that is him talking about his COVID theory. Y'all know that a few years ago I did a COVID theory, and my theory was, I mean, it still could potentially be right, but I think it was so far off that it's crazy how far off I am. I got other ideas now that I guess I could tell you, because we look at the fact that Kovic, remember back when we first met him, we wondered why he was wearing glasses. Nobody else wears glasses in the 31st century. So why is Kovic wearing glasses? It's because he wants to feel closer to the 21st century. Then we see him using legal pads. Why would you write something down when there are a million different ways that you can save information without putting pen to paper? It's because he has a penchant for 21st century relics, and I got a strong feeling that those things lead into what Kovic is or who he is. And to me, and remember, he wore a regular suit in an episode. It wasn't it was like a Gary 7 type suit. Remember, he wasn't wearing what everybody else was wearing. In fact, he was in a completely different Starfleet division. So, anywho, the bottom line is, I think Kovic is somehow from the 21st century, and he's finding himself in the 32nd, 31st, 32nd century. Tell me what you think. At least you didn't say the YouTube. Oh, okay, I gotta fix it. I need y'all to sign up on the YouTube for my friend Wingrace, David, and Clarence's YouTube channels on the YouTube. TNG, Who Watches the Watchers, is a good one too. That was good. March also says we may never find out about Kovic. We better find out about Kovic. we can't end this series without finding out about COVID. If we end this series, now I'm going all serious. Like, if we end this series without finding out about COVID, we better be finding out about COVID in either like, either Starfleet Academy or Section 31. And if he shows up in Section 31, it's going to make me feel that my initial theory about him being a member of Section 31 was correct. He don't have to show up in Section 31. I'm not saying that's what I want to happen. If he shows up anywhere, we better know what makes Kovich tick. Because then I'm going to wonder, if we don't find out, I'm going to wonder what was the point of introducing this character with this many quirks if we weren't going to explain the quirkiness. They're going to have to, or they're going to leave a lot of people without closure. And you know how important closure is for people. We got to have closure. We got to know exactly what COVID is. Now, for the third episode in a row, we didn't see Saru. Doug Jones is not even in the credits. So we know we got to see Saru again. So, okay, I'm looking forward to seeing him again. But it would have been really nice to know what he was up to during the events that we have been seeing over the last 3 episodes. And I guess now we just wait to see the finale, or whenever he comes back. Hopefully it's before the finale. Professional whistler Molly Lewis performed the actual Whistlespeak in this episode. Michael Burnham got to use her xenolinguistics degree, certificate, whatever, in this episode. So the Denobulans seeded the rain on the planet with silver iodine, and that is used today in cloud seeding. The walls of the Denobulan vacuum chamber were made of solid titanium, which was commonly used by Starfleet in the 24th century, and the thickness prevented us from beaming in and out. So, okay, we know that there had to be a reason why we couldn't beam straight into this structure, and it's because of these walls of titanium. They're so thick they couldn't get a lock. On the mofungo. Am I saying that right? I don't think I've ever had mofungo. I had a friend who is Puerto Rican, and she used to make some good stuff. That Puerto Rican rice, arroz con gandules, arroz con gandules. Am I saying that right? I hope so. So that is what she used to make, and I used to love it. But Culber has a thing from a fungo, and we saw him replicate his grandma, or not replicate, a holographic version of his grandma that has like all of her memories or whatever locked in, her exact personality locked in. And Culber was so excited to see her because he was like, this is exactly how I remember my mom, my grandma. So he's like, Abuela, I need some mofongo. I need that recipe because I'm trying to make that for Paul. She was like, boy, I be replicating that stuff. Boy, I be replicating that. So mofongo con pollo al ajillo, traditional Puerto Rican dish, got rice, chicken, and garlic. I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know that. So the Hilebno are those bowls that they use are like the Tibetan singing bowls, and they use those for music therapy. The sound wave pattern shown during the sound cure is a real phenomenon called somatics. The weather control interface was in the Denobulan language, which was first seen on Star Trek Enterprise. If Kovich's 21st century legal pad is made of acid-free paper, it could indeed survive for centuries. That I would have never known, but I got that information off of trekmovie.com. Uh, so yeah, those all the notes that I have. Uh, Wingray says yes, definitely felt similar to showing the planet to them from Who Watches the Watchers. Yeah, it's possible his story was next season before they canceled it. Right. But okay, you canceled it. So now you got to answer some shit. You can't just leave that. You got to answer that. And yeah, Marge, only 4 episodes left. We are beyond the midway point. We are winding on down. So 4 episodes left. I got to look at my calendar because now I want to know. We got an episode coming Wednesday. I mean, what day is it? Thursday, rather. So we got an episode coming Thursday, Friday. I mean, I'm sorry. So is the last episode on the 30th of May or is it on the 6th of June? Let's look. If somebody knows that answer, um, yes, it would, Marge. I completely agree. Does anybody know what our schedule is? Let me see. The Star Trek Discovery. I be forgetting. In the meantime, Clarence, are you're going on today, right? If you're still in the chat, please tell me yes. Please tell me yes, sir. So episode 6. I need all of the episodes. I don't want some of them. Yeah, I need all of the episodes. You're gonna show me? Yeah, I have to talk to it because my computer has been temperamental over the last few hours here. So I am being nice. I'm being nice to the computer because I need the computer. I need it to work for me. Last episode is May 30th. Looks like next episode is going to be Maul and Lock Heavy. It's called Eriga. It is directed or written by it's written by M. Raven Metzner, and it has a director that's to be announced. I wonder why that is. Let me go and see if they've named this director yet. I don't see a name. Mm. I Let me see who is directing this thing. Now I'm over here. Directed by John Dudkowski. Um, who you getting in this episode? Justice said this was a good episode. He liked it. It served a purpose. It slowed everything down. It moved the plot a little bit, but it did serve a purpose in letting us catch our breath for a moment. Going on this classic Star Trek away mission and just chilling, just being quiet so we can have some character moments. When things are moving at breakneck speed, it's kind of hard to sneak those character moments in. And we got a pretty strong episode, some pretty strong performances in it. I just, I'm never going to get past the Nobulan thing, but that's me thinking too much about I get to thinking too much about this ish, and then I'm like, I'm assigning real world stuff to it. But yeah. Oh, Wingray says unless they drop the final 2 at once, which is possible. As far as not IMDb, Wikipedia was concerned, we got 4 weeks as far as what Paramount might be thinking. They might think we need to go ahead and put them all out, put two of them out together and end things a week early. I would hope not, because we are still talking about Star Trek Discovery. So if they kind of let it out too many at a time, too many episodes at a time together, they shorten the amount of time that we keep that conversation going. Who is it that you've been asking for all season, Win Grace? Marge was ready for this slower pace. She said it was welcome to her. Me too. I think we needed it. Marge is also curious as to Win Grace. Like, who was it that you were looking for? Gosh, my hair. Justin is rating already, and I think I'm about ready to rate too, because I'm gonna have to end in a couple of minutes. I want to end in a couple of minutes because a little part of me says that, oh, I didn't know that. A little part of me says I want to go on Clarence's show today if he lets me. When Grace says, I don't know if people want spoilers, but I looked, because I looked on Discord where he put it. Me and Marge, and I'm not going to say it out loud. I did not know this individual was coming back because I didn't watch the Ready Room. I haven't been watching the Ready Room. It's y'all, this is just so much ish. I've put myself, y'all know I'm in, I got my back up against a little bit of a wall here. Excuse me, I knew I was about to sneeze. I tried to stop. Okay, so I didn't look. Oh, excuse me, to see. I want to know who's coming back. I mean, I know who's coming back now, and I'm excited for that too. Marge is at ratings. She gives it a full 5 out of 5. Marge, you are more generous than I am, because I'm taking off a little something because of that denobulant ish. Oh, so Marge is guessing Giorgio? No. Justin likes these types of episodes. I like this one too. It was pretty good. It was a classic Trek episode. For my rating, I give it a 4.75 out of 5. And it was going to be a little tiny bit lower, but you guys have talked me up, because the only question, the only nitpick that I have is because I just saw that little string hanging out of there, and I just picked at it. And before you knew it, it's like a whole freaking ball of yarn. I'm just sitting there thinking of all the different ways that it was irresponsible for the Denobulans to seed this planet with these towers and never come back. And I've said the same thing about Starfleet sending people, and then by the time you come back to the planet, it's like, y'all really F this planet up. Y'all really F this planet up when you came here. Shoot. So there we are. There we have it. Last but not least, is there anything else that I wanted to add? I gave you my my rating. We talk about our next episode, Eriga. There is something I want to do. And it just depends on how you feel about minor spoilers. And the reason why I'm saying minor spoilers is because this is stuff that is put out by Paramount themselves. And if they're putting it out, you follow some of the information or some of the publications that post Star Trek news, then you might have seen these stills from the next episode. So if you haven't, or if you have seen those stills from the new episode, I'm just going to show them here. If you haven't, I'm about to show them here. If you don't want to see them, I'll see you guys next week, unless you're going to hang out with Clarence on his stream, and then I'll see you there. Um, oh, I'm sharing the wrong tab. Silly me. Am I sharing the wrong tab? Am I sharing the right tab? Let me see. Why that tab? Why are you showing that one? Mm, let me see. Gosh, I suck. All I'm trying to do is share this tab before we get up out of here. I think I'm sharing the right one. Okay. So let's see. Let's see what we see. The synopsis for the next episode: with Maul and Locke finally in custody, the Federation is pulled into a diplomatic and ethical firestorm when the Breen arrive and demand they be handed over. Meanwhile, a frustrated Book looks for ways to help as Tilly, Adira, and Reno work to decipher the latest crew. Well, that makes me happy to know that these three are going to be working on the latest clue. Um, co-showrunner Michelle Paradise previously teased this episode saying tense and unexpected. I'm looking forward to it already. Looking forward to it already. Oh, I guess in these photos, we got the answer to one of these people who are going to be making their way back, and that is Rachel Asheril as Non. But I'm very happy that we getting this Reno, Tilly, and Adira team up. We kind of need that. I don't know what y'all gonna see as far as the thumbnail goes. Well, they look cooler than a fan, don't they? And I guess I'll watch the clip when I get. Whoa! Thank you, Marge. You are absolutely too kind. I appreciate you. Reno gets more than 5 seconds. Yay, yeah. Thank you so much, Marge. Yeah, when Grace, I agree. Holy moly, you just made it very worth it for me to have sat here for this amount of time and talk about um shit that I love talking about. I can't receive it now, but wait, you know what? Let's see. Because they only pay us on the 21st, and they pay us if our total is over $100. But with super chats, YouTube takes a cut. So it's not going to be $100 coming to me, but that's okay. Um, so the conversion would make that about $73. And then yeah, Cash App sucks. I mean, Cash App is just I appreciate don't even worry about that, Marge. You just helped me tremendously because no matter what, I know I got money coming later on in the month when I didn't think I had money coming. It's just simple as that. Don't be sorry. It's just it's coming, and it's probably gonna come right when I need it. You know how sometimes what you want and what you need are two different things, and I want some money right now so I can eat dinner. But I'll probably need that money later on this month. So I'll get 70 something dollars before the conversion or after the conversion, and then YouTube is going to take some money, and then I'll still have some money. No worries, because with what I've already made, which I've made about $40, this should put me at $100 where I'll at least get a paycheck. And I promise you, I'm so appreciative, because I ain't even said what happened about my glasses. What almost happened. Amira, you know how babies, especially little ones like her, Amira just made 7 months the other day, and she's starting to crawl, and she's realizing that her hands do what she wants them to do and all this. And she snatched these effing glasses off my face, and I saw my life in a very blurry manner flash before my eyes, because I'm like, no. She snatched these glasses off, and her little grip was so strong that I couldn't hardly get them out of hand. So I'm like, I need a second pair of glasses. Now, it's going to be a whole lot simpler to get a second pair of glasses than it was to get this first pair, but I got to get a second pair. I got to be prepared for for when this little girl, because between her and her brother, one of them going to get them glasses. I keep them in the thing. Even like when I don't have them on my face, they are in this case. I can tell you that Ashton, that's the grandson. And I know everybody was like, oh, everybody talks about their grandkids and their kids. Look, this was some ish that I saw that I didn't expect to see. And the thing that I saw him doing, I've got the remotes. So I got a remote to my lamp, I got the remote to my TV, and I got this. These are the three things that sit at the head of my bed. I was over here working on a script and the little screenshots, and Ashton was moving around my room. I got an ottoman sitting over here. I don't put too much in the ottoman. It's batteries and ish like that in the ottoman, stuff that I'll need, but I don't need it to be right in front of my face. Ashton goes into that ottoman, which I got clothes stacked on top of it, because I told y'all I ain't no neat freak. So I got clothes stacked on top of it. I watched Ashton take the clothes off the top of the ottoman, open the ottoman, put my eyeglass case, my remote, both of my remotes, the remote to the TV and the remote to the lamp, in the ottoman. And then he put the top back on the ottoman and threw the stuff back on top of it. Now, I don't know how many times I may have mentioned to you all that I can go through here looking for stuff and be like, I put shit in the weirdest places and don't be remembering. There's I got a shelf over here with the little organizers. I done found my mouse in there. And I'm like, now why did I put my mouse in here? And you know, I do crazy stuff sometimes. So I'm not innocent. I do crazy stuff. And I realize now that it's been Ashton this whole damn time. It was Ashton all along. Yeah, Ashton is just in here setting me up to fail. He been just, and then Amira tried to snatch my glasses off, and I'm like, these kids, they tried to doom me. So thank you. I said all of that to say thank you. You see YouTube channels doing ads for glasses companies. See if you can get yourself one of those. Man, maybe I need to. Be like, why don't y'all send me like 3 pairs of glasses that I can hide all around this room? Because these kids be setting me up. Anyway, I'm gonna see how I feel in an hour and some change. Hopefully, I feel good, feel up to hanging out with Clarence, and hopefully he wants the company if he's doing his show today. If not, I will see you guys in the next live stream. But if so, if you see me tonight, don't be surprised if you go to Clarence's channel, which is Discussing Trek. For anybody who is one of the new people who I've had like 120 something new subscribers. So if you're one of those 120 20 new subscribers, hey. But also join us tonight at 8 p.m. Central Time on Discussing Trek's channel as we talk deeper about this episode of Star Trek Discovery. And yeah, I'm gonna see everybody over there at Clarence's show. Wing Grace's channel. And if you want something outside completely of what we typically talk about, there's David. David Lancaster has a new YouTube channel, and he's a musician. And he tells little stories sometimes, but he is a musician for 100% sure. So you can see him there if you want a little palate cleanser after we've had our conversations. Other than that, I got nothing else. I have had so much fun spending half of this evening with you guys. I've had a lot of fun. 3.5 hours so far. See you guys next week for Eriga. Live long and prosper. Peace.